Hello friends and welcome back to Diary of an Impulse Buyer, where I spend my money so that you don't have to. And today we have just a short little video reviewing a couple of viral beauty products. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but I am both sick and just got off like a 7-hour shift outside of a 90-degree heat, so I'm a little bit out of it, but hopefully that won't affect the video too much. We have 9 products to review today, and I'm just going to go through them in the order that I use them. So first off, we have the Haruharu Wonder Black Rice Probiotic Barrier Essence, and man, is that a mouthful. I don't believe this is a toner. I hear people talking about the Haruharu toner, and it kind of comes in a similar bottle as far as I can tell, but this specifically says it's an essence, and it has kind of a more milky feel to it, so it doesn't really seem like a toner in formula either. Here's what the bottle looks like. Online, people said that this was really good for like restoring your skin barrier and then giving you that like glass skin look. I believe most of these are Asian beauty products, and over there, the glass skin trend of having super clear, hydrated skin is really big right now. Usually in the morning, I'll begin by washing my face with a rice foaming cleanser, which I'll actually talk about at the end of the video because I also use it at the very end of my routine. We'll get to that. And then I put on this essence and my moisturizer, and that's all the skincare I do for the morning. I just realized while looking at this bottle right now, you're supposed to shake well before using, and I don't think I did that, so hopefully that's not like messing it up. You can see in my hand it's kind of just this milky white formula, and honestly, you really only need a couple of drops of this in the morning to really moisturize your skin. Now, I am not necessarily really that acne prone. My skin is a little bit weird. When I do skincare, I'm very oily. If I forget to do skincare, I'll get kind of dry and flaky. I've been kind of chasing after this whole glass skin trend of like looking like you're a filter or whatever, have this perfect smooth skin. I don't actually know if that's a thing. This is a good like barrier essence, I guess, or whatever. It feels very hydrating, nourishing, and whatever. But as you can see on my face, like I still have little pimples and dry spots, so it's not completely like smoothing out your skin. I don't know if it's necessarily any better than any other essence, but I was able to get this on Depop for like $9. I don't know if you should be buying skincare off of Depop, but I did to save money because impulse buyer, and I really like it. Things I like about it that aren't really about the formula is that the bottle is like glass, so it feels very heavy and nice and almost like a luxury feel. This is a bottle of 120 milliliters or about 4.05 fluid ounces. I've had it for about 2 months now, and it doesn't seem like it'll be running out on me anytime soon. It seems really good, but I don't think it's the miracle potion that's gonna give you glass skin. I'd give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. Alright, so this is the moisturizer I use. It is, upon looking at it, a Oat In Calming Gel Cream by Purito Soul. And so it doesn't say that it's actually a moisturizer. So maybe it isn't, maybe it is. There are so many different things in beauty. There's serums, syrups, essences, the whole thing. And I'm not getting into it. That's just way too much. So I use this as a moisturizer, and it does a really good job of keeping me from drying out. You can see the bottle here. It is vegan. As I recall, it wasn't super expensive either, which is really nice. I've seen a lot of beauty products like the Ant Honey shampoos that are said to be absolutely phenomenal, but they're like $40 a bottle, and it's like, even if I fell in love with that, I couldn't justify repurchasing that every couple of months because it is just so expensive. So I try to keep my beauty products on the more affordable side. This moisturizer, because I'm going to call it a moisturizer because that's what I use it as, has the benefit of actually smelling really nice. I know that doesn't really help your skin at all, but it also absorbs really quickly, is a really nice, smooth formula. The only issue I have with it really is that it seems to run out kind of fast. I don't know how much I'm supposed to use, so I kind of just put a little dollop on my hand, and I'm almost out of this bottle, and I bought it about the same time as the Haruharu essence. I know obviously we're comparing 2 different products, but I almost feel like the packaging makes it feel like there's less product in it because you kind of gotta like shake it to get everything out of it. The product will kind of like clump up in the top here, and to get it to come out the bottom, you gotta like wish it around. I also want to put up a disclaimer that I actually haven't tried a whole lot of beauty or skincare products. I used to kind of just try whatever my mom and sister didn't like and gave to me. So these are kind of like my first things that I found that I've bought myself. Anyway, really like this one. Is it a holy grail? Probably not, but it's still really good, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Alright, next we have the Menokin 30-second bubble mask. I believe these went viral as like oh, K-pop idols, makeup artists use this as a base before their makeup. So it's basically exactly what it sounds like. You're gonna pump it into your hand, it foams just like a foaming soap does, and you kind of rub it on your face, and within 30 seconds it will have absorbed into your skin. This one is their bright version, which I think is said to like even out your skin tone or something. You use about 1 to 3 pumps whenever you use it, and you only use it like 2 or 3 times a week. One pro is that there seems to be a lot of uses within one bottle. I've used it a couple times already and there's still a lot of product in here. After I use it, my skin is very shiny and hydrated. I think part of that, if you're not careful, can kind of lean into being greasy, which is why they tell you to only use it a couple times a week. But I think it's really good as a base for your makeup. I believe that the bright one is supposed to kind of even your skin tone out. I don't have a whole lot of variation in my skin tone, I don't think, but I think this was mostly to help kind of even out the shade of my acne scars. It doesn't completely eliminate them, but I do really like this product. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. They're a little bit on the expensive side, but they're not terrible. Next up, we have the Moist Menokin Mask, exactly the same as the other one, except for I believe it serves a different purpose of hydrating the skin, trying to restore your skin barrier to give you that glowy glass skin look. This one I've had for a little bit longer than the other one, so it is a little bit more empty, but I do use the two of them together. Basically, I do a half pump of both and kind of mix it into like, I don't know, a pudding and put it on my face. Pudding wasn't the right word, but I also really like this one. If I'm being totally honest, I can't really tell a difference between the two of them. Maybe if I use them over a longer period of time, I would notice one doing more hydrating versus one doing more evening of the skin tone. I've seen people with these Menokin masks doing like all 5 of them or a conglomeration of 3 of them. I don't necessarily think you need to do that. I think you should just kind of pick one and call it good. It stresses me out when people are like, oh, pick one, and then each mask does all these different things. And I think that's kind of how they trick you into buying a bunch of their products. I would say, at least for me right now, having used them, just pick whichever one is your favorite color maybe. They seem to all kind of do the same thing. And I wouldn't, like me, stress out about missing out on the benefits of one versus another. I would talk about primer next, but actually the primer that is kind of my holy grail primer right now is one from Flower Knows, and I'm about to release a whole series actually about doing an organization, but more importantly a tier list of my $4,000, $5,000 Flower Knows collection, and so I'll talk about those there. So let's move on to foundation. The viral foundation I tried was, of course, the Tier Cushion Foundation. I have an entire video where I bought 6 Tier Cushion foundations and kind of ranked them all side by side, so I'm not really going to get into it a lot here because it seems like a waste of time, but I, especially the red one, really like it. I think orange is my favorite, but red is definitely the runner-up, especially paired with that primer I will get to talking to in later videos. I think it creates a super smooth base. It makes my skin look really nice. It also comes with SPF in it, so I don't have to put on sunscreen. I know there's a whole debate about like sunscreen and makeup is less effective, but I don't like putting on sunscreen anyway. I've never been sunburnt in my life because I'm tan and I just get more tan, which is probably bad, but just having this built in already is really nice for me, so I really like the red cushion. This is like a 9 or 10 out of 10 for me. The orange one is an 11. Next up, we have the Long Curling Kill Lash Super Proof Mascara from Clio, I believe. And man, is that also a name. I first saw this on Tina Tries It, and if you don't know what that is a series by a YouTuber named Tina who does a lot of reviews on Asian beauty products and fashion and whatever. She said that this was really good for like the straight down Asian lashes, which obviously I have. This is said to be a drier, less waxy formula, I think, that's kind of better for sticking your downward growing lashes up. I have a love-hate relationship with this mascara. On the one hand, I do think it does the best job of keeping my lashes curled and going upwards rather than slowly becoming a downward slope throughout the day. My biggest issue is that, number one, the first couple times I wore it, for some reason, the fact that it was drier made my lashes feel kind of stiff and therefore kind of like poke me in the eye for some reason, which of course was not my favorite. Not necessarily a bad thing, but because it is a thicker, waxier formula, you're going to need some heavy duty makeup remover to get this off at the end of the day. And finally, I think my biggest gripe with it is that something about either the way I'm applying it or the product, sometimes when I put it on my lashes, it'll kind of bleed and there will be like these big black lines under my eyes. I've kind of, I think, gotten the hang of it where that doesn't happen, but especially the first couple times I used it, I'd put on my mascara, I'd turn around to like change into my clothes for the day, and I'd look back in the mirror and I'd just have these horrible black lines on my face, I'd have to take the eye makeup remover and kind of remove all the makeup around my eyes, and that was not my favorite thing in the world. Usually it was only the underneath of my eyes that I'd have to redo, but if it ever got so bad that I'd have to redo like my eyeliner, that would make my routine take way longer. So yeah, it works good and does what it says, but it doesn't blow me away. I have short eyelashes and this doesn't make them like horse eyelashes or noticeably longer. It's not without its issues, but I do think that it's probably the best in terms of hold for Asian lashes, so I think I'll give it a 6 out of 10. The formula is what really bumps it up here. Maybe I'll phrase it as being not the most beginner friendly that makes it a couple points down for me. I do still like this product and don't necessarily think it's a bad purchase, but keep in mind that you might have to play around with it a bit to get it to do exactly what you want. Okay, on to makeup remover products. I'm sure we've all seen this one before. This is the Anua Heart Leaf Oil Cleanser. Okay, being honest, this is a really good oil cleanser. It melts everything. It's definitely going to leave you clean. It does kind of take a hot second to use because you gotta like massage your face for a minute and then add water and emulsify for another minute. But in the end, it does do its job. I think the videos online that you'll see of people like pulling out these oil plugs from their nose with this product are fake. I've never had that happen for me. It doesn't necessarily clear my blackheads. I definitely still have those, but I still think it's pretty good. The biggest downside is that it's like 17 bucks a bottle. A bottle does last you a really long time, but it does kind of hurt me to drop that every time. But this is definitely the strongest oil cleanser I've ever used, which is really nice when you're doing heavy makeup or thick eyeliner or whatever. Flower Nose has a cleansing balm that smells really nice, but it's not nearly as strong as this, so I can't really use it every day. There may be cheaper alternatives to this, but I am now attached to this one. This is like an 8 out of 10. Alright, here is the rice toner I was telling you about earlier. This is the Arencia Rice Mochi Cleanser, and I use this after my oil cleanser to kind of remove all of the oil residue. This is a super popular one online, mostly for its texture, I think, but I also really like the formula. Again, it doesn't completely eliminate my blackheads, but it does do a really good job of both gently exfoliating my face and removing the oil from my oil cleanser. It is a touch expensive on Amazon, but I was able to find this at TJ Maxx and Marshalls for the price of the smaller mini version, which is really nice. This costed me about $14 plus tax. It did come with a little spoon that went here that of course I immediately dropped down the drain. It smells super nice, does a great job of cleaning my face. I'd give it a 9 out of 10, but only if you buy it at TJ Maxx. Alright, next we have the Holy Basil Deep Bubble Mask, which maybe you have or haven't seen on social media. It kind of runs in similar circles to the Arencia Rice Mochi Mask, but this one is one you kind of like paint onto your face with the spatula they give you, and it like foams up. It actually tickles so bad on my face. You leave it there for 5 minutes and then you kind of rub it in. I think it's kind of like a mud mask underneath there. I don't know how much like the carbonated bubbles are actually doing to clean your face, but it does feel really nice. This one does actually do a pretty good job on my pores. I think I might need to refine my routine a little bit because I think part of the problem is I'm pulling stuff out with this but then immediately putting gunk back into my face with all the other products I'm using. Overall, this one's really good, and so far I think has been the best thing for kind of removing my blackheads. I think the main issue is that this packaging isn't the best for the kind of product it is. Basically, as soon as it hits air, it's going to start foaming and bubbling up, and the package can sometimes not be super great at protecting what's still inside the jar from the outside air, and sometimes it'll start foaming up inside there. I don't have it on me, it's still in my bathroom, but it does come with this dual-ended spatula with kind of a rubber brush on the end. The spatula is for spreading it evenly across the face, and then the brush end is for once everything's foamed up and you've waited 5 minutes, it kind of helps you brush everything around and get everything deep into cleansing your pores. I actually really like this. I think this is a 9 out of 10, maybe a 10 out of 10. And finally, I forgot I owned this till I saw it on my cart. This is the Ilso Sebum Remove Complex Centella Asiatica Extract Caraseco Papaya Fruit Extract. No, that's too long of a name. This is supposed to melt your blackheads and sebum and kind of clear out your face. I don't use it super often because a lot of the times my other products do a pretty good job, but when there's a lot of buildup, I will use this. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this. On the one hand, it does do what it says and cleans out my pores Sometimes it does it better than others when there's like some dirt really deep ingrained in my face, but for the most part, it does do a really good job of cleaning out my pores. The main issue for me is the smell. This smells like fish, which is concerning. It makes me wonder, what chemicals am I putting on my face? Because you also, to use it, have to take these cotton pads that come with it and like stick them on your face or your nose or your forehead or wherever you want to clear out your blackheads for 5 minutes. So for me, who wants to clear out blackheads on my nose, that means that fish smell is sitting right above my nostrils for a good 5, 10, 15 minutes. I think it's 15 minutes you're supposed to leave this sitting here. Yeah, 15 minutes. So it just doesn't smell that great. But because of the smell, it makes me a little bit hesitant. Like, what is making you smell like fish? I think that's probably another one of the reasons why I just don't reach for this that often. It's because I have to contend with the smell. It's very similar to the Clio mascara in that it does exactly what it's supposed to do. There are just some like functional issues that make it kind of the worst sometimes. But this one's issue is definitely way worse than the mascaras. The mascara you can kind of work around with your application technique, how much mascara you have on the wand, etc., etc. This one is always going to smell like fish. So if you can handle that, then this is probably going to be really good for clearing your pores. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I don't promote impulse buying or say that a shopping addiction is a good idea. I just buy these things to help my fellow impulse buyers know what is and isn't worth their money. I will see you all next time.